Good evening, Tallahassee, and welcome to this Friday edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Brittany Bowman.
And I'm student meteorologist Dylan Leith. We had another gorgeous day today. Absolutely great conditions. Didn't need as much layers as you've seen the last couple of days. Only 1 or 2 layers. Not too bad, only waking up in the 40s this morning.
We were gradually and slowly improving as we went to the week. We started freezing in the beginning of the week, literally. Temperatures dropping slightly below 32 degrees, and we slowly warmed up, and we're finally getting some warmer temperatures this weekend, but there's some negative side to that.
Yeah, with the warmer temperatures, that's due to that rain not letting it get as cold when it comes into our area. So unfortunately, we're going to see warmer temperatures and warmer rain.
Yeah, not just rain, but some severe weather is possible this weekend. We'll have plenty of more updates on that throughout the show, but that will be the main topic for this weekend.
Yeah, there's also rain threats as well on top of the severe weather. There's a lot of rain, and we've seen a lot of rain throughout the Big Bend region with Hurricane Michael this year, so those impacts will be felt as well.
Yeah, for now, we're going to send it over to Catherine, who has a look at our overview.
Thanks, Dylan and Brittany. Yeah, so currently our conditions are sitting at 62 degrees and it's relatively cloudy. Our winds out of south-southeast at 5 miles an hour, but here's our rain that we're talking about coming in from the Gulf. We're going to see rain coming into the evening hours, and we have a larger picture of the system coming in. So we have our Gulf low pressure system that's going to be responsible for a lot of the rain we're going to be seeing in the next 48 hours. We have a flash flood alert for southeast Alabama and southwest Georgia and the panhandle of Florida. We're going to be looking at precipitation amounts between 3 inches and 5 inches, so it's a pretty significant flood warning. And a 3-day overlook. We're looking at some pretty wet weather, so if you have anything that you want to do outside, make sure you do it tonight, because Saturday, Sunday, and Monday are going to be looking pretty wet. And headlines, so just an overview: stormy weekend, severe flood warning, and then if you hold on tight, we're going to have cooler weather later this week and sunny skies. So we'll send it back over to Dylan and Brittany at the desk.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Great first show, and now we're going to pick your Metro segment. We got Seattle today, home of Starbucks, sorry, and not Seattle's best coffee, as I found out, so unfortunately that's not there.
I know a lot about Seattle because I'm a Grey's Anatomy fan. That's where that takes place, and it's definitely pretty rainy always on that show.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out what we're doing next week, and next week is our last one for the semester as we are not picking a show, so we're going to find out what segment. Brittany, do you want to do the honors of picking?
I'm honored.
See what city we get next week?
Boston.
Hey, where AMS 100th year is going to take place not next year, in 2020. So definitely different than what we're going to see. It's very cold up there now. So we're going to see what they have in store next week.
Have you ever been to Boston?
I have been to Boston, actually. Can go for some clam chowder and different Boston foods that I can't think of right now.
All right, let's bring things back locally with Jake.
Thanks a lot, guys. I actually had no idea Grey's Anatomy was set in Seattle. A bit of an interesting little tidbit there on that desk. Looking at today's almanac, we're actually right about average once again on those high temperatures. 70 degrees was our high. That's the first time we've been above average in quite a few days around town, the average being about 69 degrees. So warming up a little bit. That's going to be a continued trend, of course, in addition to this rainfall threat that we're going to be talking about pretty extensively on tonight's show. Across the region, we're seeing where this rain is starting to work its way in towards Apalachicola, where it's down at 65 or up at 65 degrees, but that rain is starting to fall really in a lot of these coastal areas. Parts of Franklin and Wakulla counties are getting in on a little bit of that action, even starting to try to spread into Leon just a little bit, but clearer skies off to the north with some well above average temperatures off to the north and west a little bit, where they're starting to get a bit into that warm sector. And again, that's going to be continuing, as well as this moisture beginning to filter in out of the southwest. Dew points already getting back up into the lower 60s in these coastal areas. We see that contrast really sharply defined. We're back up into those middle 40s, that drier air that's currently situated in southwestern Georgia. And we're starting to see those winds also turning out of the south just a little bit, mostly out of the southeast. Fairly light for now. We'll see those picking up tomorrow and turning into more of a southerly sort of flow as this low begins to move its way further off to the east. And again, pretty light conditions. They're still on the backside of that high pressure system, a little bit further off to our east. So a little bit nicer weather over there for the rest of the at least early evening hours. And you see again that flash flood watch, as Catherine was alluding to a little bit earlier, extending from Leon County to areas off to the west. Some light rain filtering in places like East Point, Apalachicola, Port St. Joe. Nothing really too severe any point in the near future, but still some pretty light rain to keep in mind as you're making your commute home, if you're going to be out there on your Friday night. And these are the couple systems we're really going to be watching for this severe weather threat that we're going to be seeing tomorrow in our area. This low pressure currently over the plains right now. We're seeing the storms beginning to blow up over parts of Arkansas and Louisiana. There's an enhanced level 3 out of 5 risk for severe weather there, but the potential for large hail, damaging winds, and isolated tornadoes in those locations. And that's going to be an issue for us tomorrow, potentially, especially in areas off to the western portion of the Florida Panhandle, where damaging winds will be the primary threat, with the potential for an isolated tornado in some locations. For the next 24 hours, we're going to start to see that rain filtering in overnight tonight, really in a bigger way, setting up for a messy day around town tomorrow. We're hoping that rain's mostly going to be earlier on in the day, but we cannot rule out the possibility of some strong storms lingering into the early evening and even later on into the night. And again, we have a slight risk level 2 out of 5 from the Storm Prediction Center for Tallahassee, as well as really the entirety of our immediate viewing area and the entire Florida Panhandle up towards southeastern Alabama as well. Again, the primary threats for this possibility for damaging winds is the #1 threat, and an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out in these locations. And of course, rainfall is a big issue. That flash flood watch we've already talked about. 5+ inches of rain is possible in some locations of the Panhandle, even some locally higher amounts in some areas where we get those training thunderstorms. For tonight, low temperatures mostly in the upper 50s, some 60s down to our south and west, a little bit closer to the coast. And that rain continues to build in through the day tomorrow, especially in the southwestern portions of the region at 72 degrees for that high. For that 7-day forecast, again, the rain sticks around really through Monday in a big way before we get our next really big cool down. Temperatures trying to drop back towards the freezing point by, say, Wednesday night or so, with the sun working its way back into our picture by midweek. Going to take things over to Brittany now for the southeast.
Thank you, Jay. Currently, things are quiet over here, but the chance of severe storms is starting off to our west around Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas. That's where we're keeping our eyes on for tonight. Currently, they're sitting around the 70s, upper 60s in some locations, and El Paso is sitting at 59 degrees. Towards Florida, we're sticking into the milder temperatures, 60 to 70 degree range, and our dew points are also starting to increase. As the low pressure system is moving more east, we're getting more moisture, and that's also part of the reason we're seeing those winds out of the south. We're getting a lot more moisture. 54 degree dew point in Tallahassee, 67 in New Orleans, and slightly drier in Charleston, South Carolina. There's those wind speeds coming off the Gulf. They're light over towards the Florida, Georgia, Alabama side of the southeast for now. But when you look over towards where the low pressure system is now, you see those wind speeds have really picked up. 15 miles per hour in Dallas and 14 miles per hour in Oklahoma City. And there's that low pressure I was talking about making its way towards the east, and we're also getting a lot of rain coming off of the Gulf because of this warm front. So that's where we're going to start to see that rain as we move into the night. But this is the area we want to focus on for tonight for that possibility of severe weather. You can already see some lightning strikes starting to pop up. These storms are starting to flare up, and they're going to continue to move east. Right now, I'm not seeing any severe weather alerts, no watches or warnings for any severe thunderstorms or tornadoes, but you definitely need to keep updated as you go into the night if you're in this area. Over the next 24 hours, you see things start to flare up tonight and quickly moving east. By tomorrow afternoon and morning, we'll have that greatest chance for severe weather in the Tallahassee area. But for tonight, 58 degrees in Tallahassee. 10 degrees warmer when you move over to New Orleans at 68 degrees, and you can see chance of storms in most of the area around Louisiana, Arkansas, and around Mississippi. But you can see where that cold front has passed to our friends off to the west. 46 degrees for that low tonight in El Paso. And for your storm outlook for tomorrow, slight risk, including Tallahassee, going all the way down, including New Orleans. So this is where we're going to see that chance for severe weather tomorrow. Gusty winds will be a big threat, some frequent lightning if you get under one of those thunderstorms, and also can't rule out the possibility of an isolated tornado. So stay weather aware tomorrow, and this is where we want to focus for your Saturday. If you're golfing in Atlanta, not the best day to do it. Rain's forecasted all day with the possibility of some storms, and we're sticking to the upper 40s in the morning, and we're not warming up too much in the 60s by the afternoon. For tomorrow, you can see the rain chances move east as we go more towards the east. 72 degrees in Montgomery with that chance of storms, 74 in Jacksonville and Orlando at 81 degrees. And for now, I'm going to send things over to Jake in the lab.
Thanks, Brittany. We'll have more later on in the show about tomorrow's severe weather threat for us in Tallahassee, as well as the ongoing situation off to our west. But today is also the final day of hurricane season in both the Atlantic as well as the eastern/central Pacific Oceans. So we wanted to go ahead and give a little bit of a quick recap of what we saw this hurricane season, because unfortunately, like the last couple of years, it was a pretty memorable one for all the wrong reasons here in the United States. Some of the stats: 15 named storms. These are all the different tracks, this giant spaghetti mess you see out in the open Atlantic Ocean. 8 of these storms ended up becoming hurricanes. It's a bit of a slow July, really, the early portion of the season, but really started to get going later on. 2 major hurricanes, and unfortunately both of those were the ones that really impacted the United States, causing over $33 billion in estimated damages. So we'll go ahead and break down a few of the storms that were relevant both to the rest of the United States as well as our immediate area. Starting off with Tropical Storm Alberto. This made landfall on Memorial Day. This is the 4th consecutive year that we had a named storm form before the official start of hurricane season on June 1st. It made landfall in the Florida Panhandle and then eventually made its way all the way up to the Great Lakes, where it maintained its status as a tropical depression. It was truly a marvel as it made it all the way to Michigan, still having tropical characteristics. Now our 2 major hurricanes, of course, Florence was a Category 4 storm at its peak, made landfall on September 14th in the Carolinas, and ended up becoming the wettest hurricane in the history of the in recorded history in the Carolinas, dumping in excess of 3 feet of rain in some locations of North and South Carolina. And of course, the one that we all know here in the Florida Panhandle, Hurricane Michael, made landfall on Wednesday, October 10th, as a strong Category 4 storm at its peak intensity of 155 miles per hour, the strongest storm on record for the Florida Panhandle. So later on next year, we'll start to see some of the reports coming out for these specific storms with more details and the forecast performance and all that for these 2018 tropical cyclones. But we're saying goodbye to hurricane season as of today. Now we're going to take things back out to the wall where Sarah has our national forecast.
Thanks, Jake. So zooming out into the national picture, we see a lot of cold air out into our west, sitting at Salt Lake City at 44 degrees, and then a little bit more warmer as you go down to the southeast as we have that low pressure system bringing in that colder air. That's why this blue is behind it, and also bringing some severe weather as well into the Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas area, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Current dew points right now, of course, behind that frontal system, we have that drier air mass, 31 in Denver, so that chapstick season out there. We do see a little bit more moisture over into the southeast as we do have that high pressure system off into the Atlantic, bringing in a little bit more moisture from the Gulf, bringing those winds out almost into the south. That's why you have that's why that green is there, of that moisture. And looking at our wind speeds, you can really see that high pressure system sticking out into the Atlantic. There is that moisture that you saw before, bringing up that moisture. And then here's that low pressure system, that counterclockwise motion, bringing in a lot of that severe weather for tonight into the Midwest, and going to bring in some weather here at close to home too as well, bringing in some damaging winds, maybe a possibility of some isolated tornadoes. Here's that occluded front right now, that cold front here. It's bringing in that dry air behind it, and then that warm front bringing in some rain right now into the Tennessee Valley area. And this system for tonight is going to be the main factor of a lot of that severe weather into the Midwest. So definitely make sure you are alert, have that NOAA radio at hand, especially as we get into the evening time. And tornadoes are very dangerous during that time, since they're a lot of people are either sleeping or you can't really see them. So definitely take aware of that. Satellite radar showing that rain out into the Texas or Tennessee Valley area, some moderate showers out in Tennessee. And right now we do not have any severe weather alerts. That's the good news here for now, but that can all change, especially in this area right here by Arkansas and Texas and Oklahoma. But we will keep you up to date. Make sure you always have that NOAA radio at hand. As we move on into the north Midwest, we do see some patchy snow areas over into Colorado and into Wyoming, and some rain as well. And we also do have some winter weather advisories out there and warnings. Those are
you already see for that little high temperature right there, and of course that 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Now let's zoom into the Pacific Northwest, one of my favorite cities in the United States. Went to the AMS conference in 2017 and had an absolute blast. I love Seattle. 49 degrees currently in Seattle, 47 down towards Tacoma, right down Interstate 5 in northwestern Washington, 47 in the capital of Washington, Olympia. Some cloudy skies sticking around. Of course, that is what they are accustomed to in northern Washington. A little bit of moisture sticking around as well. Those dew points not very far off from what we're seeing on those temperatures. We see a little bit of precipitation as we go into the radar in just a second here. With those winds out of the south, we already looked at this low pressure that's off the coast. These are very common this time of year and really throughout the year off the Pacific Northwest coast. So you tend to see this and you force this lift over the mountains, and that's where we get to see our really cool precipitation feature. The Cascades right off to the east of Seattle. On a sunny day, you can get a fantastic view of these things from the downtown buildings. And we see this rain on the west side of the mountain. This air gets lifted up, eventually cools to the point where we can get frozen precipitation. That's where we see these mixes and these snows. And then on the east side of the mountain, you're essentially sucking out all of the moisture right here and there. So we're not going to be seeing any sort of precipitation really on the eastern side of these things. This is a pretty common feature that you see in the mountainous regions. And some pretty heavier rain starting to work into the western portions of the state. We zoom out to the rest of the country, and again, the big feature we're looking at here is this low that's currently spinning right off the western coast of Washington. For the next 24 hours, we'll see this trend continue to stick around. Always love seeing those little rain snow lines right by the mountains here, and that continues really into tomorrow. Cloudy sky is going to be sticking around for really most of the day in these areas, Seattle, Tacoma, all the way up towards Arlington, Burlington, even up to the Canadian border here. For tonight, 40 degrees for that low under partly cloudy skies in Seattle. A little bit of rainfall, maybe even a bit of a mix in some of these areas off to the southwest, getting down into the mid-30s in some of these locations, and of course cooler in some of the higher elevations like Bering and of course Greenwater. 40 degrees with a bit of a mix going on there for tomorrow. Sunnier skies off to the north, 48 degrees in Burlington and 46 right around the 45-degree point, right around SeaTac there. Some scattered showers are possible over in the big metroplex there in northern Washington. But for now, we're going to go back a little bit home with Dylan.
Thank you very much, Jake. We're going to take a look at Florida right now, and Florida feeling just like it is. Warmer down towards South Florida where you got the cloud cover sticking around. It's feeling warmer there. A little cooler over into the northern part where we've seen the cool air sticking around. We've seen these temperatures start to pick up. It's already 68 degrees in Pensacola, only 62. Look at that difference. It's about 6-degree difference just going eastward into the state. And you can see our dew points reflecting a lot of moisture sticking around. It's Florida. This is not what you usually expect around this time, but we're seeing this moisture in the air because of these winds coming off the Atlantic and coming off the Gulf into the Panhandle, bringing in a bit of moisture ahead of this frontal system, which is going to allow this system to actually fire up and bring some severe threat. Where we put some moisture with some lifting, when they get up into the atmosphere, it has the potential to be a severe storm as it moves eastward. And you can start to see a little bit of rain bands, but these aren't the intense rain bands we're expecting into tomorrow that are going to be the stronger. These are just a little blanket of rain ahead of the front. And as we zoom in, this isn't the rain that's going to bring the severe, the flash flood watch in effect till Sunday. That's not this. This is coming up. This is a watch, so we do have the possibility of a lot of rain affecting everything from Leon County and Wakulla County westward in Florida tomorrow, as we start to see the first band of rain, and then into Sunday as well. Seeing into tonight, the first effects of the front, we start to see some severe weather over into Pensacola and Destin tonight, but rain showers starting to affect the eastern part of the Panhandle as well. Then we go towards the more central part. They're seeing a little bit of spotty showers and some cloud cover, and this is going to change as we get into tonight as well. Seeing a bit more rain coming over to the northern part of the center of Florida, and then down to the southern part, cloud cover as well. And then going down to South Florida, where I'm from, you start to see some spotty showers and a little bit of heavier rain there, but this is going to continue to clear out a little bit as we get into tonight, though only a few spotty showers down into Homestead and Miami and Vero Beach as well. And then as we get into the next 24 hours, look at this. The entire state of Florida is about to be engulfed by a blanket of rain and cloud cover for the next 24 hours. And you start to see the strong storms move into North Florida and into the Panhandle as well, into past Pensacola, sticking around Tallahassee as we get into tomorrow morning. And going throughout the day, the rain really kind of just settles into the north part of the state. The southern part of the state staying relatively clear in terms of rain, but cloud cover is sticking around with them all day. And then that's why we have the storm outlook for tomorrow. We have the slight risk back into Pensacola. You're going to start to see a little bit more severe weather into tonight, and then starting into tomorrow when these showers really fire up and start to bring a lot of rain and intense thunderstorms with this moisture. You're going to start to see the slight risk, which is a level 3 on the, or level 2, sorry, on the severe outlook scale. And as we go into tomorrow, rain engulfing the northern part of the state and clouds engulfing the southern part of the state. And look at this temperature difference. 72 where you have a bit of rain, a little cooler, but it's warmer than what we've seen. And then warm temperatures with that blanket keeping all that heat in down into South Florida. But right now I'm going to send it over back to the desk with Sarah and Catherine.
Thanks, Jake. So right now we're going to be talking about some of the events that are going around here in Tallahassee the next couple of days. And the first one that I saw was, if you want to relive your childhood, Shrek 2 is
Shrek 2
is playing
tonight.
Playing at SLC at midnight. The doors open at 11:30. So definitely, since we've been talking the storms coming in for this weekend, definitely go out tonight, take advantage of it, because if we get into next weekend, it's going to be rainy. But talk about some other events that are coming on too.
Well, just to go back on that Shrek thing, if it's at midnight, so you do have time to watch Shrek 1 if you needed to remind yourself what happened in the first movie.
Yeah, definitely.
But Women's soccer is playing the semifinal round in Cary, North Carolina. It's been awesome to watch them kind of go through NCAAs, so it's really exciting. I hope that they come back with a win.
So yeah, definitely after you're watching this show, definitely tune into that. It's at 7:30. They're playing in Cary, North Carolina. It'll be a bit chilly up there in the 50s, but not too bad. I think 50s is okay.
50s, I think that's some pretty good pretty good weather, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. But then going out from FSU, we do have the Jingle Bell Run. That's tomorrow, starting at around 6:15. So definitely if you are into running, I would suggest going. I'm not, so so definitely go and support your family if anyone's going. And then we also have the Winter Festival.
Winter Festival. I've never been to the Winter Festival, but it's looking like not too pleasant weather to make that very wintry.
Pretty gloomy with some chance of some scattered showers and storms. But staying a bit muggy though at 70 degrees, so not too bad. Hopefully it'll clear up, so maybe we'll have the Winter Festival. Definitely make sure to keep an eye on your radar, keep an eye to the sky for those rain showers. And I think what other stuff's going on? Sunday we have the really free market going on. So
super fun. Really free market. I've again never been to the really free market, but I assume that there are some free items there that you can get.
Yeah, definitely go out there and definitely go and take advantage of tonight and watch out for tomorrow with those showers and storms. But for now, we're going to send things back over to the wall with another local with Brittany.
Thanks, guys. Let's start off with a look at our time lapse today. Mostly cloudy skies. We did get some peaks of some sunshine throughout the day, but as we're ending our night, clouds are in the sky. And currently 62 degrees, not as cold as we saw the last couple of days. We had that gradual warm up, but when you look at our 7-day forecast for next week, you'll start to see those temperatures decrease once again. But for now, cloudy skies, winds pretty light coming out of the south-southeast. Currently across our area, we're in the 60s, mostly some upper 50s up into northern or southern Georgia and Alabama, 59 in Blakely, 64 in Camilla, and also 64 in St. Mark's, slightly warmer down by the coast, and also it's a little more muggier down by the coast, 54 degrees in St. Mark's, 62 in Carabel, and as you go more north, we're starting to see some slightly drier conditions, but everything's going to turn more humid as this low pressure starts to make its way more east. And another reason we're seeing those muggier dew points is because of this onshore flow, winds coming out of the south, bringing that moisture off the Gulf. But again, winds are pretty light, 4 miles per hour in St. Mark's and 6 miles per hour in Quincy. Looking at our satellite and radar, you're starting to see some light to moderate rain approaching Franklin and Gulf counties, and this rain could move into our area later tonight, so if you have any plans outdoors tonight, keep in mind some light rain could move into the area, but the severe threat is going to stick over to our west around Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas for tonight because of this low pressure system making its way towards the east. And also we're getting this light rain because of this warm front in the Gulf, bringing in that moisture for us. Over the next 24 hours, you'll see the clouds increase and some possible light showers, but the bulk of that heavy and possibly severe storms comes tomorrow. A lot of these warmer colors indicating heavy rain. So if you have plans tomorrow, you might want to bring them inside because the possibility of severe weather is in effect. We're under that slight risk, those gusty winds, frequent lightning when you get into one of those thunderstorms, and also we can't rule out the possibility of an isolated tornado. So definitely stay weather aware for tomorrow because Leon County is under that slight risk. And also another risk is that heavy rainfall. 4 to 5 inches in the forecast for areas around Tallahassee and West, which is a pretty big amount. So we're going to see that flash flood watch in effect until Sunday night because of those rain chances lingering around into the weekend. Everything from Leon County west in Florida, basically the whole panhandle under that flash flood watch. For tonight, the later we go into the night, the more clouds you'll see and the more rain you'll start to see. Low of 58, winds will stay light, but as that low pressure continues to move east, we'll see that wind pick up. Tomorrow, picking up to around 10 miles per hour and 100% chance of heavy storms tomorrow with that high around 72 degrees. Again, if you have those plans, make sure you go inside tomorrow because it's not looking like a good day, and these stormy conditions will continue throughout the weekend. 70% chance of rain on Sunday, with that chance of some severe storms still lingering around into Sunday night. Monday, not looking any better to start our next work week. 80% chance of rain with that high of 77, but that's when our next cold front comes through. Tuesday, 30% chance of rain in the morning, but we're going to stay cool with that high of 65 and another chilly midweek for next week. For now, I'll send things over to Sarah and Jake.
Thanks, Brittany. Yeah, we do have a very interesting week ahead as we have starting off very gloomy and stormy, and then nice weather as we get into those cooler temperatures.
Yeah, this is what we kind of saw, October being so consistently hot. November's finally starting to, I guess, buck the trend a little bit, and of course tomorrow's December, so that doesn't have much credence to it, but things are going to be going a little bit bipolar, essentially.
Yeah.
With Saturday, Sunday, Monday being those warmer temperatures up in the 70s, those big rain chances like we've already seen, and then those midweek cool downs are starting to become a bit of a trend. It never seems to be timed on the weekends, right? It's always like Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's a good thing for us. I mean, Monday's are really one day when we go out to our classes, we need to bring that umbrella with us, and then the jackets come back.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I got a couple of presentations to make this week, so I will be spending my weekend inside and working. So I guess on that end, it's going to be nice to have a little bit of rainfall happening here. Of course, we'll keep you guys up to date if things do deteriorate a little bit tomorrow with that slight risk of severe storms sticking around.
Yeah, definitely make sure if you happen to have to go out, make sure to have your lights on. Do not have your hazards on, and just drive safely on the roads, especially if you're going to be out. But I mean, take a good opportunity to stay indoors and study, especially with finals week coming up.
Exactly. If we have those sort of training little thunderstorms that we tend to see in some of the areas, that could be, we saw a 4 to 5 inch rainfall forecast for our area. We could see some localized spots getting higher amounts as well. So you definitely want to, again, take it easy on the road. Some of the areas off to the west that have been more affected by Hurricane Michael, need to keep an eye on that for the potential for those damaging winds, as well as, again, the flooding in some of those rivers in those areas as well.
But at least on the brighter note, once it all clears out, we'll have the sunshine return and cooler-like temperatures.
As I said, we are ardent in the power of positivity here. You can follow us all over social media, keeping track of the weather situation this weekend. We're on Twitter, twitter.com/FSU Weather.
And also like us on Facebook. We'll post all the social media updates on there too as well.
And after a brief little snafu yesterday, we're back on YouTube. You can watch us live. Maybe watching us right now, youtube.com/FSU Weather/live.
And also shout us out on Instagram. Send us your awesome pics if you see some nice storms out there. I know my friend one time, she did a slow-mo of lightning strikes. That was really cool.
Yeah, it could be a good time to do that tomorrow. Stay weather-wise this weekend. We'll keep you guys safe. Keep up with us on all of our social media. For all of us here at FSU Weather, I'm meteorologist Jay Karstens.
I'm student meteorologist Sarah Converse. Have a great night.
See you Monday.